So we are starting the Bhagavad Gita 3.27 shloka. Okay. Prakrute kriyamanani.
Prakrute kriyamanani.
Prakrute kriyamanani.
Prakrite kriyamanani.
Gunai karmani sarvashah.
Gunai karmani sarvashah.
Gunai karmani sarvashah.
Gunai karmani sarvashah.
Ahankara vimudhatma.
Ahankara vimuttatma.
Ahankara vimudhatma.
Ahankara
Vimuttatma.
Okay, in English, when we see, we are seeing it as the Tahatma, but it is Vimudhatma. It is da. Yeah, Vimudhatma. It is da. Okay. Ahankara Vimudhatma.
Ahankara vimuttatma.
Vimudhatma.
Vimudhatma.
Kartaham iti manyate. Kartaham iti manyate.
Kartaham iti manyate.
Yeah. Somebody wants to try reciting it?
No, Niru.
Okay, so we'll go to the synonyms.
Niru, I'll repeat.
Okay, go ahead.
Prakrute kriyamanani.
Prakrute kriyamanani.
Gunaihi karmani sarvasah.
Gunai karmani sarvashah.
Ahankara vimudhatma.
Ahankara vimudhatma.
Kartaham iti manyate.
Kartaham iti manyate. Okay, synonyms, Anand, you want to go ahead? I'm
Go ahead,
muting myself.
Niranjan. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Prakrite, of material nature. Kriyamanani, being done. Gunaihi, by the modes. Karmani, activities. Sarvashaha, all kinds of. Ahankara vimudha, bewildered by false ego. Atma, the spirit soul. Karta, doer. Aham, I. Iti, thus. Manyate, he thinks. Translation: the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Purport, who would want to read it? Please go ahead. It's a small one.
Purport.
Yeah.
Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his
Yes,
nescience.
science. Yeah.
Nescience. He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body. For due to his long misuse of the senses in sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Like what I understand with this purport, I frequently say in our sessions, my mother says that you are going around roaming on the roads on your bike, people going like and falling down. So I utter these words frequently that I am not who is going, he is going and he is coming. So what I understand, what every step, what I mean by this is, I am not doing anything. He is the one who is doing everything. So I should not, like we say, I should not take the credit for whatever I'm doing. He is eligible for the credit whatever he is doing. I am not doing it. I am the source through which he is doing whatever it is, good or bad. In short way, I could make out this is what I can make out from this paper, which I frequently keep on saying it. Over to you, Niru.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Anand, for the fantastic inputs there. And I will share few comments and try to close it as soon as possible because it's already 9:01. Now, this particular shloka of Bhagavad Gita 3.27 is once again highlighting methodology of how we need to be involving ourselves into the activity of doing various types of actions or karmas in our daily life. The first thing what it's trying to do is it's creating a kind of an awareness where in the Sankhya Yoga it's clearly said last time when we were discussing on the second chapter Sankhya Yoga, it says that an intelligent person who is there or the Brahmana who is there, he recognizes that there are these three things which are really having a lot of influence in our daily life. Only the one who is having that kind of an awareness will be able to exercise his will accordingly, and then he will not be attached to the karma or the activity what he is doing either in his daily life, personal or professional life. And what is this awareness? The awareness is this, that in my body I am always having these three things, which is number one, the material body, number two, my Atman, and number three, the underlying controller. So the intelligent Brahmana always recognizes that there are these three things which are running parallelly. Only the person who is aware of these three things which are operating parallel, they are not operating one after the other. They are happening simultaneously. Parallelly, they are happening in one's body. Only when the person, if I am aware that these three things are happening parallel, these three things are happening simultaneously in me as an observer, will I be able to exercise my thought processes, my activities, and my will such that this particular activity, what I'm doing, will not produce any kind of karma or the vasanas. It will not produce the vasanas or it will not produce the karma. Why is it doing so? Because a person who is aware will always be very humble that he is no one. Number one. Number two, he recognizes that there is a material aspects which are involved, which are being influenced thoroughly by the Arishad Vargas. Number one. Number two, he realizes that he is a part of the Atman, of the Super Parabrahma. Number three, he realizes that there is a underlying controller. Whereas a person who is not intelligent, or a person who is not aware that what are the things which are operating him, what are the underlying controller who is existing, he is not even aware of the controller. Number two, he is not even aware of his spirit. वो तो just बस जिंदा है जिंदगी जी रहा है. So he is floating without recognizing what is there internally within him. It is like this. It is like a mirage. For example, if we go into a desert and then we see there, we see I am thirsty and I will see water there, but when I run there, there is no water. It is a reflection. It's a mirage thing which is not there, but it appears as if it is there. For example, if I'm driving a car in one direction, or I am sitting in my car, and then there is another car which was also there, but it is moving in the opposite direction or in another direction. For a moment, I will feel that I am also driving. Have you experienced it? I think this we experience more on a train rather than on a car.
Yes,
Correct?
yes, yes,
So
yes.
it appears that I am also moving, but in fact you are stationed. But for that split second of a moment, I think that I am driving or my vehicle is also moving, for example. Now similarly is the case. For example, if I am the owner of the car and then I give my vehicle to, say for example, my son to go and then drive. Now when the son is going and then driving, in case he is crossing the penalty or the kind of signals which is existing, he is crossing that red signal without stopping. So the challan will come to the owner of that vehicle. To the owner of that vehicle. The challan here is the penalty, the fine. That fine, that penalty is our karma, which is coming back and then giving us to reap the fruit of it now. But if I follow the regulations which are being set by the standards of this government where I'm living right now, then when there is a red signal, I am stopping, I do not get a challan. I don't have to pay extra for it. Similar is the case when there is an accident that is happening. So the challan is coming back to us. We think though the vehicle belongs to me, I am the owner, but my child is taking the vehicle and then going out and crossing, the challan is coming to me, correct? But it is not going to the manufacturer of that vehicle, because the ownership is being transferred from the manufacturer to the person like me, for example. Now the ownership is being transferred to me. I am the owner of that. Similar is the case where the Parabrahma, the Supreme Paramatman, has given a Atman. The ownership is being transferred for a while to be there in our body. When I am doing certain activities in this body, I feel I am the absolute owner of this particular thing to do any kind of a mechanics with that. And any kind of a defect which is happening, that karma, I have to experience it back. The false ownership of this particular vehicle which is there between the son and the father now, though the son he is driving it, he is doing the the penalty kind of stuff, he's not following the rules, but the fruit of it has to be experienced by the owner of that vehicle. Similarly, the spirit soul, once under the influence of the false ego, now he starts thinking in my body that I am the person who is doing it. I am the person who's doing it. The moment I think that I am the person who is doing it, all the activities or all the impacts of the karma come back and then associate with me, to me in this body. But it will not be so when I am attached to the original self, that I am doing it as a service to the Parabrahman, without any kind of a ego, as a service to the humanity, or as a service to your personal self, without attaching any ego. Like what Anand rightly pointed out, if there is a skill set that is there in a particular person, and there is a little bit of air as an encouragement which is given to that particular person, he will improve in that skill set. He will start doing more of it. So what is it teaching us? It is teaching us that a right activity with complete surrender of doership. It is not me who is doing it. I am being endowed as a blessing into this body with a particular skill set. The moment I am doing it, I will be able to have far, far superior results compared to a person who is doing it with ego. Why so? At some point in time, when in the process of an ego, when you do it, there is every probability that that particular skill set might not work. For example, even when Arjuna was fighting against Karna, in that particular aspect, when Karna hit an arrow, it touched the chariot of Arjuna, but it moved only a little bit. When Arjuna hits it, it goes a little bit further. For a fraction of a second, Arjuna experiences ego. There, Krishna suggests very clearly, when he is there, that is the reason this particular chariot is only moving an inch. If had he not been there with Arjuna in that chariot, he would have been blown out of the Kurukshetra long back. That particular ego has to be trimmed immediately. This is possible only when we have a Satguru, a Guru with us who is able to guide us from moment to moment, time to time. When we surrender ourselves to that Guru and we follow his instructions, whatever he is trying to offer, which is in for our own good, because he is not expecting anything in return. So that is the fact, that is how we will be able to humble ourselves. We will be able to realize that we are not the doer. There is a underlying current which is existing, which is controlling the entire thing. I'll give one small example and then stop. Say, for example, in our body, if you are seeing something, or you are hearing something, or we are talking something, we know that we are seeing, correct? I am seeing through my eyes. My eye is a uh, material body now. My eye is a material body. It is my eye. So I am seeing it. This I which is there is recognized as the ego or the self or the spirit or the Atman there. The moment I know that I am able to see my eye, there is something else which is there on top of it, which is telling me that I am the person who is seeing it through the eye. The moment we realize this, that there is this controller who is giving me the consciousness that I am the person who is seeing it through my eye, and I recognize this particular consciousness which is giving me an awareness of me as the doer, and I surrender to that supreme self, then there is no attachment of the karma to that particular thing. It is like the water, because we are formed with 70 to 80% of our body is made out of water. So that would be another classical example. Water by itself will not have any kind of a taste. But when I add sugar to this water, the water starts becoming tasty. It becomes sweet. When I mix salt into that, only water and only salt, then the water is salty. But when I mix into this water salt and sugar, it is having kata mita kind of a taste, a different taste altogether. So is the case in my body when I mix with various proportions of my material being in terms of uh, sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. My output of this particular thing will be the various kind of tastes which it offers. If sugar is thinking that it is the one which is giving it the taste by its own nature, but this particular material which is existing, the original taste of it is coming because of its roots with the sugar cane, and the sugar cane is having it from the material nature of the entire earth. If we look at it that way, if I am an air and the air is coming and then filling into the balloon, then what is happening is this air is already present everywhere. The moment I'm removing the external layer of the balloon, it is already one with the air which is outside. Similar is the case with the material things. All the material gunas are coming and then being in my body. The moment this body is not there in terms of my consciousness, I recognize that these material bodies are not mine, then the karma will not be attached to us. This is what is the technique that the sloka of 3.27 is offering to us. Where in the corporate world, in the framework of the laws of the company, there are so many companies which are existing. Every company is having its own framework of laws, its own framework of policies. And if I, as an employee of that organization, think that I am the person who is doing this particular thing, how stupid it looks like. Same is the case with our personal life. Same is the case in our spiritual life. So this sloka is giving us a technique 3.27 where it is asking us to keep this awareness, to come out of the false ego and recognize the true Parabrahman, the doer of the doing things, the doer of the doing things in the sattvic nature, which is existing in various proportions at various levels. So, with that, I think I will stop my comments and thank you.